anybody need to talk about 40? Does anybody need to talk about 40, 41? 40? 41. 41 in one hand. 2, 3. 41 says, can you conclude from the article? What can you conclude from the article is what they're asking there, right? And for 41, 41 should have been D. More voters voted for Gribben than Ward, but you cannot tell how women and men voted. It doesn't break it down to that level. I don't think it did. I don't know if we noted that, but it does say that more voters voted than in the past. That's all it says. And it does say more than half the voters voted. So that's the only thing we know from that. 42, one hand. 43, 44, 1, 2 people. 45, 46. Okay, 46 sounds like people want to talk about this. It says, for 46, it says Hernan has to tile a rectangular hall floor that is 8 feet by 4 feet. The tiles he's using are shaped like squares measuring 2 inches on each side. The tiles cost 26 cents each. How much will it cost him? First of all, we know that 8 feet by 4 feet is in feet. Tiles are in inches. So we need to convert 8 feet by 4 feet into inches. So what's our best measurement for 8 times 12? 96 inches. Okay. And then this is obviously 4 times 12, which is 48. Okay. We need to do that because each of the tiles, they're smaller, they're in inches, right? 2 by 2. So what you have is length times width, length times width. Does everyone see what we're doing here? Does everyone see that? This is going to tell you how many tiles. Each tile is 2 by 2. The entire floor is 96 by 48. I would not multiply these out. Divide first. That's friendlier, right? So this is 48 times 24. Because 96 divided by 2, 48 divided by that. This is equal to a big number here. That number is going to tell you how many tiles he's going to have there. So I'm just going to pull the calculator out just to make it easier for all of us here. This is 8 times 24, which is 1,152. We need to multiply this by the cost of each tile, which is 0.26. So times 0.26, 299 and 52. That's what that is. So our best answer here on this one, 41 or 46, sorry, should have been F, which is about 300. That's our best answer. If you're running short on time, you could change 0.26 into 0.25. Consider that 1/4, and just go 1152 divided by 4. That's what I would have done. If you're running out of time, you're like, shoot, this looks painful, because I just kind of do the quick step there just to give you an exact number on my calculator. But that would have been the faster way to get through that one. Okay. That was 46. Do we need to talk about 47? 48? Okay, so a lot of people want to talk about 48. 48 says when Hernan, is it Hernan? Spanish, right? Hernan, like Hernando. Okay. Okay, so Hernan uses square tiles. 4 tiles always meet at a corner, as shown below. How many tiles will meet if he uses the shape above? Well, this is kind of interesting. The shape above is the hexagon, right? 4 tiles will always meet at a corner. how many tiles? 48. They said it was 3, but I'm trying to see how that turns into the hexagon there. 4 tiles always meet in a corner shown below. How many tiles will meet unless they're how many tiles will meet at a corner? If he uses the shape above. I don't think that hexagon is related to it. That doesn't sound right. Because the answer they have here is G, which is 3. 3 hexagons? Let me see. I'm trying to see how they did it. Let's try to draw this out. That might work out because that hexagon is kind of confusing here, but let's do this. Wow.
The middle is 1.
So they're trying to make, it says, when he uses square tiles, 4 tiles a week. Oh, I get what they're saying. It's kind of confusing what they're saying because they're saying what they should have said here. It's very confusing, the way that they wrote the question. They're saying, they give you this picture of 4 squares, and you're like, is he using squares? Really, that picture's irrelevant. Because what they should have put was this picture. Because when 3 hexagons meet in a corner, this is 1 corner, that's 3 they were being deceptive because you're like, how would he get a hexagon out of that shape? He doesn't. He's not using that. He's using, this question should have been written, how many tiles will meet, how many hexagons will meet in 1 corner if he uses hexagons, but they didn't say that. So, all right, let's keep going. 49. 50, 51. So some hands for 51. Which graph shows a man walking at a speed of 3 miles per hour? Well, if you think about this, miles per hour, okay, I see it actually as your X is your hours, your miles walked 3. So your best one is C. Because if you look at the X value, let me just write it this. Where is this? Three miles, 1 hour. If this is your X value, wait, hold on a second. Well, the graph is saying 3 hours. Well, the best graph here is C because it says 1 hour, 3 miles. That's the best one for 3 miles per hour. The other one doesn't. B is deceptive, but B is saying 3 hours and 1 mile. So that's not correct on that one. Okay. After 51, should we talk about 52? 53? 54? 54, one hand. 55, one hand. 56. Lots of people want 56. This is, okay, this question is very interesting. It says oatmeal is being transferred from one cylindrical canister to a smaller cylindrical canister. If the oatmeal is 1.5 inches high in the first, how high will it be in the second? So what's interesting here is the oatmeal itself doesn't fill the entire canister here. So this is kind of interesting. Transferred from one cylindrical to the smaller one. So this is what I would do here. I would try to find the volume, first of all, of oatmeal in there. So let me just, who knows the volume formula here for a cylinder? Yes, Summer? Not volume. For a cylinder, a cylinder is different than a rectangular box. You're thinking a rectangular box. Yes.
Height times area.
Right. So it's area times height. It's the same idea, but let me just put this. Volume of a cylinder is equal to area times height. Area times height, because if you think about it, this is area of a circle, and you're stacking circle upon circle upon circle upon circle until you get a cylinder, right? That's what you're doing. So this is pi r squared times height. That's exactly what Maxwell said. So that's correct. So the first one here, if you look at it, they give you the height of the entire object. But they said that in this one, the height is 1.5 for the actual oatmeal that's in there. So this height here is 1.5, okay? And it says that the diameter is 6. How does the diameter help us here? Diameter gives us radius. So if diameter is equal to 6, that means the radius is equal to 3, okay? We need radius to find this. So we can put it in this formula. You have 9 pi times 1.5. Not exactly friendly numbers here, but let's just multiply that out. Uh, 13.5 pi. That's what you're going to have there. Not a friendly number, right? But now it's saying how high will this go in here? So if we know you're pouring in 13.5 as a volume, so let's put this in here. 13.5 pi is equal to, for the second object, your height is now 8 inches. So the volume is, again, pi r squared h. Your height is 8. Your radius here is 1.5. This is a nasty number. I can't believe they're using this number. They're not friendly at all.
Honestly.
Well, we don't know if it's going to be the full height. That's the only thing. This is what you're going to do. Because we don't know how high it's going to be. We're looking for the height if you were to fill it in, here. So now, yes.
Couldn't you just find the area of the circles because the height's the same?
The areas of the circle. You could do that. What I did is this. That is the circle. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm kind of doing the same thing that you're doing there. I'm going to divide both sides by pi and pi. I think 1.5 times 1.5 is equal to 2.25. Yeah, 2.25 h equals 13.5. Divide by 2.25. 2.25. These are unfriendly numbers. You could do the division here, move the decimals. I'm just going to do it fast right here. 13.5 divided by 2.25 equals 6. So you are finding the height, which it does. H is equal to 6. So that means that if you took the oatmeal from the first one and you put it in the second one, it rises up to 6 inches of the 8 inches in the second canister.
You would assume that it would be 3. Why?
Well, I mean, they're different width or different area, the circles.
Well, yeah,
right?
but if the height is the same.
But the circles are
is
different.
Exactly like 1/2 smaller
Yeah.
than the other one. Then wouldn't you assume?
But it didn't. But the thing you're relying on is a similar height. But the thing is, it didn't fill all the way to the top of the original canister. So
Yeah, it filled 1.5 of the original canister.
Right.
Same height. One's just thinner, so you would assume.
that it would just be divided by 2.
Yeah.
But it's not. So it turns into 6. That's your answer for this one here. So the original height was yeah. But that's how you do that one. The answer there was 6 for 56 there. Okay. So aside from this test, I think what we see here is this. And you guys, let me get your all's opinions here. How many of you guys would say you knew, in terms of the math behind this, more than 75% of the actual math? 75%. How many of you guys would say 80% of the math? 90% of the math? 100% of the math? So I think the feel that I got, even though some of you guys are looking at here, my gosh, these scores are not what I'm used to. More of it was about tricks. the ones that we missed than it was about content. For those of you who felt that you knew about 75%, this is what I want you to do. Go back, and if there are math concepts that were new, I would review those just to add to your math vocabulary. Because I don't think any of this is so far beyond. If I noticed anything from looking at it, I would say one math concept that I saw some people make a mistake on was square roots. Some people feel a little bit less confident about their square roots. I would review and practice that a little bit. Some of these things, like memorizing formulas, volume of a cylinder, that might be just something you need to add to your math vocabulary. A lot of these questions, I think there were tricks in the way they wrote them, rather than math concepts that you guys didn't know. So kind of look at that and get familiar with the patterns, because I think pattern recognition is one of the most important things you guys can do. Question there, Maxwell?
We'll get another math test.
Yeah, what I was trying to do when I asked you during the break what you guys wanted to do was to see whether you wanted to take home the whole test or part of the test. But it seems like the consensus is people don't want to carve out 4 hours of their week, 3 hours. It would take about 3 to 4 hours to do the whole thing. But I gave you guys the reading, so you can do that. The way I want you guys to do this at home is give yourself an hour and 40 maximum to do that. Okay? Question?
So the homework is
The practice test that I gave you?
on reading.
Yeah, the one that says big day, hour and 40. You should write an hour 40 on big day of the slopes. It's an hour and 40. What we'll get with this is the reading and language, and you can see that exercise in front of you, and it has 2 samples, and at the bottom it says bigger and better, right? I think for you guys, reading and language is not as overwhelming. Basically, this is what I want us to do, is since we're familiar with basically